Hey guys, welcome back to another video on my channel. Today we are back in a brand new video showcasing something that was added in yesterday's snapshot. It might not be yesterday by the time this video comes out. I think this video releases on Wednesday, and if you are wondering, I've delayed Vault Hunters until Thursday. This is the first snapshot for 1.20.5, and this adds some new generic attributes to the game. The first one is block interaction range, and this is the range at which you can interact with blocks, breaking them, placing them, opening containers, and things like that. The second one is entity interaction range. This is the range at which you can punch entities, click on them to open like villager trades or to interact with like LAs. Then we also have scale. This is the size of a mob. So phantoms, magmas, and slimes have had this attribute for quite some time now, although it wasn't an attribute before. So now any entity can have this. And then the final one is step height. This is basically how high you can step up a block without having to click your jump button. Let's first of all mess with step height, because this one is the easiest one to explain. So we're going to do the commands within our command menu, just because it's easier to do them this way than using the command blocks. I just had the command blocks there so I could show. So we're getting the attribute for myself in this case, and we want to do the step height one. If you do base and then get of the attribute, that'll get your current. And as you can see, the default step height for a player is 0.6. So that is 0.6 of a block. A slab is half a block, and you can instantly walk up a slab. Anything more than that and you wouldn't be able to. Whereas if we was to get a camel, for example, these can step over fences, so their step height is most likely a lot bigger. Let's quickly just change my name. Let's look at the entity to get the entity ID. If we get the step height for the camel, you can see it's 1.5 because they can step over fences whereas the player cannot. Now we can alter this. So we once again put in my name here. This can be any entity. You can just get the entity ID by looking at it. We're going to set our base value to 1.5 as well. So now we will be able to walk over fences just like camels. If I now place fences down right here, I am not going to click space and I walk straight over them. This does mean now you instantly walk up solid blocks. You don't have to jump to walk up them. Kind of like auto jump, but it's a lot smoother. But going one step further, we can make this so it's 3. So we can then walk up 3 blocks. If we do something along the lines of that, we will instantly be able to climb up this wall without having to jump or use ladders. This can be good to help map makers mess around with how high they want players to be able to step, or it could just be used in single player or servers to control certain parts of your world. But we have only gone up. We can make this go lower. So let's make it go to 0.4, which is under half a slab. So that means we will not be able to go up a slab without jumping. As you can see, I am stuck on the slab because my step height is below 0.5. You can make players be able to step up really tall walls, or you can make it so players have to jump at any obstacle. Now let's quickly do some testing, because there is going to be a limit to how high you can step. I have been doing some testing, and the limit seems to be this. It seems to be 9 blocks and then 1 snow layer. If I go and put 1 more snow layer on top of this, and I try and walk into the wall, it's not stepping me up to the top of it. But if I bring this down to 1 snow layer, it will then let me step straight up to the wall. So it seems like it's basically 9 blocks is the max step height that the game allows for. So that is step height. Let's then mess around with scale, because scale is quite a cool looking thing. And then we're going to get to the base. So let's get the base of the camel first. The base is 1. So there's no size in the camel. The camel is the size as it should be. So let's set this camel to 0.5, which I believe is the height of a baby camel. It didn't work because I still had it as get rather than set. Yeah, there we go. That is now the camel. Is it the size of a baby camel? No, it seems like baby camels are just a little bit smaller. Let's see what the smallest this could possibly be. 0.1? It can be 0.1. Can it be 0.01? Is that going to make it any smaller? It can be. How many zeros can you have before? Okay, so it seems like 0.01 is the smallest it can be. It looks like a tiny little ant. That is really cool that you can do stuff like this, because you could make like a mini village within a one block and have little camels and little villagers walking around. Because this can be done with any mob within the game. All I need to do is just look at the villager as we get the name of the villager, which hopefully it doesn't move before we can do that, and it didn't. And there we go. We now have a little villager that is probably going to kill itself. Let's get a spyglass, because spyglasses will make seeing these guys a lot better. I don't even know where it went. They're so small you can barely see where they are. You are right there. This is such a cool command. I think the scale is probably my favorite because it makes for such cool things. So 0.0 is the smallest. Now, what is the biggest? Let's do it on an LA. I think an LA would... Hi, villager. And I think an LA would be kind of cool to see massive. So let's do the same thing. So I've set the LA to 0.0 just so I could set the command. Now, the default is 1. The default for any mob is normally 1 unless it has some scale changes. A scale change is with the skeletons. They have a scale change to be 1.2 just to make them a little bit bigger than normal skeletons. Now, let's see if you go to 5. Oh, wow. Okay, 5 is a big increase. Let's see if you can go to 100. Yep, you can, and the sand block scales with it. That's insane. Your head is absolutely massive, LA. I know with sizing entities, there is eventually a cutoff point where it stops rendering for the player. Let's see, do you go to 500? I don't think it changed between 100 and 500 there. No, it didn't. So maybe 100 is the cutoff point then? Let's maybe try 200 to see if you change. It didn't seem like it changed to 200 either. Let's try 150. Yeah, it seems like the max size for entities is 100 as far as I can see, as it doesn't seem like the LA is changing anymore. One thing to note though, you can set the values outside of what the max and minimum can be, just nothing will change. For example, you saw I set the LA to way over 100. It just doesn't get any bigger after Minecraft's max size. But one thing about this, I've just made the camel extremely big. The camel is now the max size it can be as far as I'm aware, but I want to ride the camel. Now, if I was to ride it currently, let's grab a saddle so I can do so. My player's going to clip inside the camel because the game is still scaling it. So there we go. The camel is now 100. It's dying for some reason. There we go. It stopped dying. So if I now was to get on the camel, okay, there we go. We are sitting on the camel. We are just tiny on the camel's back. It does seem like it scales the player with the hitbox, which I didn't know. But we can't actually do anything because we're so small. So let's scale ourselves up. We can do that quite easily if I change this to my name. But let's now change ourselves to the max, which is 100. And there we go. We are now as tall as the camel is. And if we jump on the camel's back, which I need to get close enough to click on the camel's hitbox. I went in spectator mode by mistake. I think the camel's out of my range, so I need it to stand up. And for some weird reason, there we go, we are on the camel. And you can now see it's one large camel and also one large person. So let's start with the entity interaction. And if we get the default for this. So the entity interaction range, the default is 3. So what this means, if I was to put a villager in a hole, let's just do that so we can test this. So we have a villager right here and the default is 3 blocks. So let's go 1, 2, 3. If I was standing here, I can interact with it. So is it the 4th block? No. Okay. So here is the distance. It must be like 3 must mean something different. So I cannot interact with a villager when I'm on this block. Let's use oak slabs as a marker. If I was any closer, I can interact with a villager. Well, all I have to do is alter the interaction. Let's set this to 6 instead of 3. And before anything after this block, I couldn't interact with a villager. But as you can see, I can now do that until I get to this block right here. Anything after this and I cannot. This does also work for hitting villagers, so killing them for example. I can now hit the villager from all the way over here. So it seems like you cannot hit any entities. My current is 15, so I should be able to hit it from here. And it seems like this is the cutoff point. If I move any closer, okay, I cannot heal it from there. So it seems like this block is the one where it cuts off. So that is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 on the 9th block. It seems like 9 is the max that entity interaction range can be, which is quite low. But once again, just like all the other ones, you can set this to be less. So by default, it's 3. Let's set it to 0. Let's set it to 1. We don't want it to be 0 because then you'd have to be like in the villager's base. So 1, I cannot interact with an entity or punch it from over here. Now the block interaction range is basically the same. So if we base and then set ours to 8, this is the range at which you can punch blocks, interact with blocks. So we can press this button from all the way over here because it is now within our range. We currently have it set to 8. We can also break them blocks from over there, but we can also place blocks from a further distance. This is exactly what the crab claw was meant to do. So if the crab won, then this is what attribute it would have taken advantage of. But before this update, this attribute was hard-coded into the game. And now Minecraft have opened it up, so people who mess with mods or data packs can mess with it. And even just a vanilla player with nothing on your world, you can also mess with it. But block interaction range isn't really that interesting. It's just the distance at which you can place and break blocks. This does also mean building and vertically. So before, I wouldn't be able to build on that block down there, but now I can. So this is a thing that you can alter if you want building in your Minecraft world to be a little bit easier, so you can reach further down to the ground when building big massive mega bases. But anyway, that is where I'm going to end this video. I hope you did enjoy this video where I showcased the 3 attributes, how you can use them, and the values you can set for them. If you have any questions, let me know in the comments, and I guess I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye!